Hello, welcome back. This is how to create a Pokemon style adventure game in AGS. So we created some environments and brought them in using the tiled program. So we set up our sprite sheet in there, a tile sheet in there, and exported some images out. We brought them in and we put in some walkable areas. Um, so um, let's let's deal with some characters because in the long run, that's going to give us some assets that we can use for working on our quest system and getting some dialogue and things in the game. I will like to stress that I did make a mistake in the last video, and quite a big mistake really. In the video, I during the wizard section of creating the project in AGS, I chose the verb coin template. Um, that was incorrect, and I should have chosen the Sierra style template. So I deleted my project, and we hadn't really made a great deal of progress anyway, so it was not like a big loss. But if you're following along, if you can create a brand new project, and instead of selecting the verb coin template, if you select the Sierra style template, that's what we'll be using. So I just brought the rooms back in and set them up. So as you can see, we have our player character from the template game, the demo. So I'm going to open up our sprites folder, our sprites template tab. And in the main, I'm just going to create a subfolder. I'm going to call this characters. And then there, I'm going to create a subfolder from there. I'm going to call this player, and I'm just going to import some sprites in. So I already have quite a lot of characters set up that I've taken directly from the Pokemon sprite sheets. But I'm just going to import all of these player sprites in. They're all individual. I'll set the top left pixel to be my transparency color. So if we load up the view, the view 1, that's the default for the player. I'm going to get rid of these. Just select them and press delete. And then what we're going to do is we'll go to characters, player, and I'm just going to set this up. So the first frame of your loop is like an idle, it's just him standing. And every frame after that is essentially the animation. So for instance, if I click on the animate for the loop 0, which is the down, you can see that it's animating there. And we also have the skip frame 0, which is a standing frame. So that's all working fine. So let's do the left. There's only 2 frames of animation for the characters moving sideways. That's fine. So if I right click here, I'm just going to copy this loop. I right click again, and I'm going to paste over this loop flipped. And then we'll just do the up walk animation. There we go. So if we load up our characters tab, you can see that there's character 0, which is C Ego. If we double click that, that's our player character. So I'm just going to change his real name from Roger. I'm just going to call him player. And C Ego is also going to be C player, but we're not really. That's for the scripting, but we're not really going to use that. The animation delay, I'm going to go with 6. Movement speed, I'm going to go with 2. And I'm going to movement linked to animation, I'm going to switch that to false. Because there's not a lot of animation, a lot of frames in the character's animations. So all that is correct. So let's create a new view. So if I click on the Views tab and right click and select New View, I'm going to call this VDoc. So we'll create our first loop. So in the characters, I'm going to create a new subfolder. I'm going to call this doc, and we'll import some new sprites. Doc. He doesn't have a walk animation, but he does have different facing directions, which is fine. So I'll just flip that. Flip. Okay. Now we'll just create a new character. So I'm going to click on the Characters tab, right click, New Character. And it'll create an empty character. So I'm going to change the normal view to use the doc's view. I'm going to change his real name to Doc White, and his scripting name is just going to be Doc. I'm not going to set him in a room yet because we haven't created it, so that's fine. Okay, so let's create a new subfolder in characters. I'm going to call this Dexter. He's going to be part of a cutscene at the start of the game. So we'll bring in Dexter. Again, top left pixel for the transparency. Let's create a new view. V Dexter. All views tend to have a prefix of V. It's a good It's a good kind of form of practice to do that really. So okay, then we'll do his left. And I'll just copy that. Paste over this loop. I'll have to flip them all. Flip for all frames in the loop. And then we'll do his up animation. Okay. Now we'll create the character for Dexter. So create new character. His normal view is going to be set to the Dexter view. Real name, Dexter. Script name will be Dexter. We're going to set him in the starting village. Movement linked to animation false. 6, 2. We're going to make sure that their movements are all set correctly, because eventually we're going to reach a point where we want the NPCs to kind of wander around the village, you know, going in and out of buildings, or you know, sitting at, you know, in a park and moving, or you know, speaking with each other. So we want to make sure that they actually all function just as good as the player does. So we'll do Henry, import new sprite, Henry. He's going to be that as well. Create the view, the Henry. I do apologise if I'm working quite quickly, but it's just, you know, it's kind of a tedious kind of thing, and it's very repetitive. It's something you just kind of get used to, I suppose. So we'll do his side. Oh, don't need to do that. We'll copy that loop, paste this one flipped. Then we'll do his walk up animation. Then we'll create the character, new character. Make sure the view is set correctly. full name, Henry, C character, C Henry. We're going to set him in the starter village. So 6, 2, we'll set that to false. Okay. Next character. There's quite a few characters to do really. So we're going to go with Mary, I think is the next one. Import sprites file. Mary. Yep, that's all good. Create the view for Mary. So views are basically your animations. So if you had an environmental animation like, I don't know, a grandfather clock with a swinging pendulum, then you would set up a view with that animation in it. Mary's a bit messed up frame-wise. So we'll do the sidewalk. Make sure that's right. Copy this loop, paste it flipped. Then we'll do her walking up. Then we'll create her character. Make sure the normal view is set to that. Oh, I haven't named that. So V Mary. So we have that set correctly. New character, Mary. C Mary. She can be in the starter village as well. 6, 2, false. So that's another character done. Let's create the next one. So Mia, import the sprites. Create the view for Mia. The Mia. Okay. It's quite hard to see the difference in those really. So we'll do the left one. Copy this and paste it flipped. Then we'll do her walking up animation. Right. Create a new character. We'll set her normal view to be that. So her name is Mia. Character, so C Mia. She's going to be in a house. We haven't created that yet. So movement link to animation, false. 6, 2. I think the last character to bring in is we'll create Sophie. Import the sprites in. As you can see, they're all individual images, so it's not like a sprite sheet. So we'll create a new view. The Sophie. We'll do the left one. We're getting there, slowly but surely. I'm sure this is very riveting to watch. That's incorrect. Right, so we'll copy that, paste it flipped. We'll do her walking up animation. Brilliant. And just create this new character. Normal view, Sophie. New character is going to be called Sophie. That's her real name. Then we're going to go with C Sophie for the script. She's going to be in a house as well, I think. We'll leave that we'll leave her for a different location. Movement linked to animation false. So there we have it. And we've got a load of views, a load of characters that we can now start messing about with. So we'll close these down. So let's get some transition in. So we want to be able to move the player from out of here and into the village. So if we go to Hotspots, and I'm just going to select this one. So this one's already been used. It's called Glowing Orb, and that's obviously from the demo that comes with the template. So if we click on our events, you'll see that there'll be an events for it. So if you just, I've already removed it in this case, but in your case, if you just select it and delete it, and then you can go back to this. I'm going to change this to exit. And the hotspot, the script name, the scripting name is going to be H exit. So all hotspots, you want to have a kind of a prefix of like H, and then we're just going to draw it in. So it's going to be like there. Okay. So when the mouse goes over that, we can do something. So if we click on the events flash, any click on hotspot, we're just going to select that. So we'll go back to the room briefly. Now, if we press the middle mouse button, we can copy the mouse coordinates to the clipboard. So I kind of want my character to walk there. So what we'll do is we'll do player dot walk, and if we just paste, it's going to put in those coordinates that we just copied. So this is the blocking type. So if we go with eBlock, so no scripting will run in the background. We want the player to obey the walkable areas. So we'll do player dot face direction. We want the player to face downward, like at the door. And then we want the player to change room, and the room we want the player to change to is 2. So we'll go with 2. We don't know what the coordinates are yet. So let's go and load up the village. So here we have the village. I think this is going to be the player's house here. So I'm just going to hide the walkable areas because I don't want to see it. So I'm going to press the middle mouse button and copy those coordinates. So if I go back to the room 1 script or house room script, I'm just going to replace those zeros with those coordinates. So likewise, I'm going to select hotspots here, and we'll go to hotspot 1. So I'm going to call this one players house, and the scripting name is going to be H player house. And I'm just going to draw it in. So it's going to be that little door there. So likewise, I'm going to copy these coordinates about there. Click on the flash. Any click on hotspot. So we're going to go player.walk. Paste in those coordinates. E block. walkable areas, player.face direction. We're going to go with up, E block. Now, in the in our house script, we have the player walking to the door before he changes room. So I'm just going to take these coordinates. These coordinates are fine. So we'll do player.change room. So we're going back into our house at those coordinates, and we want the character to be facing up. So let's give that a test. Actually, before we do that, let's hide hotspots and let's show characters. Okay, so all the characters are underneath each other at the moment, so we can drag them about. So Dexter's going to be about there. We'll put him there. Mary can go about there. And you can just sit about there, maybe. That'll do. Cool. So let's give this a run. So here we go. You can see that we have our house. We're moving about. So you can see on that top bar there that it says exit. So that's taking the hotspot's name. And we're moving to into our little village. We can have a walk about. We can see all of our different dudes. And I'm going to change this. So at the moment, we have to keep switching between different cursor types, which isn't very nice, really. So we have our room changing. So I think that'll do for this tutorial. We got in some characters and we got some basic room changing. So that's how you would basically do all your transitions from one room to another. Very simple. So in the next video, we're probably going to do something quite dry. It's going to be sorting out the cursor. So we basically have one mouse button that kind of does everything, because we don't need all of these different cursor types for looking at something or walking or anything like that. We just need a button that does everything and a button that cancels, and that's what we'll do next. So if you bear with me, we'll get through that. Well, okay. Well, I'll see you in the next video.